What's up? I got another video for you. So, just go ahead, get some music playing in the background as I explain this build. Wanted to show off this build for a while. There's a lot of builds I still need to show off, and that's what kind of drives me right now. I've been taking a break from Elden Ring for a while. I get on every once in a while. I'm like, oh yeah, this game is fun, when it doesn't frustrate the hell out of me. But we got a good invasion right here at the start, and then I'll show off some stats. So while you watch the invasion, I'll get right into it. So I wanted to build like an Astel mage, or Astel spellblade. The point is, there's a theme. We're gonna keep a very consistent type of play style, and the inspiration was, I really like Wing of Astel. I don't know if you haven't used this weapon before. It's the one in the right hand right there. The heavy attack does a strong, or the strong attack does a projectile, right? And I said, man, this is really fun, and I want to use curved swords, so that was my other idea. I want to use dual curved swords. We all know how busted they are, especially earlier in the game before all the patches with bleed and whatnot. But I didn't want the typical build. I didn't want to run a mage that had the Wing of Astel as the primary weapon, or a dual curved blades with like just running at people and killing them in one shot. But I wanted that insane attack damage. I did want that crazy pressure. So what I ended up is getting a build that's kind of themed after Astel, and here we go. Oh man, I love that. Good invasion. But let me show you stats and we'll get right into it. So the idea here is we have a spellblade, right? So, and we have some of the magical tools, but we're not using sorcery stabs or sorceries, right? And you can get by with feeling like a mage with just this weapon. Look how cool this is. So heavy attack shoots out a projectile. You got the Nebula Ash of War. If you go for the flail, you can have another Nebula Ash of War. Fits the theme. The curved running, dual curved blades, running and jumping attack, immense pressure. We're going to use magic boost and whatever you want on the other physic. And then our stats, we got 60 int because the scaling kind of stops at 60. 22 to get the flail. Here's the gear. But we need the talismans. We need the prosthesis and the winged sword insignia down there. Those are going to boost our damage crazy when we get hits going off, right? But also the scorpion. You know, I love the scorpion for elemental damage boost, stacking with the physic elemental damage. So that's the stats. We'll get right into some of the clips here. But yeah, like here's just a fun little duel, I guess. But yeah, the goal with the build was I want to use the Wing of Astel. I want to use curved swords, but I don't want to do some stupid bleed build, especially now that it's been pretty nerfed. I guess it'd probably be fun now because it's not just a stupid run at him, kill him thing. I want like a unique spellblade, no sorceries, no staffs, and the final goal is, of course, I want a theme. I want a character, you know. So with the 60 stats, by the way, like I said, 60 int, you get the most scaling you're really going to get out of this within reason, like efficiency. 60 going past it, if you can afford it, great, but this is level 125. 22 dex is all you need for the flail, which means you can also run the Wing of Astel and another curved sword. You can run 2 Wings of Astel, but it's actually a little stronger to run another curved sword in your offhand, and then you're not really going to use it for much. If you can get a good Ash of War on it, you don't need it. It doesn't really enhance the playstyle that much. I have Pebble, and I don't think I even use it in this video. But yeah, just something to think about. But it's the prosthesis and the insignia talismans. These boost damage crazy. You'll see in these clips like this little weird 2v2 or separated duel thing going on here. Just running at people is insane pressure, right? And I mean, we'll just get to it. The play style, at the end of the day, what ends up happening is you have, like I said, that curved sword pressure, the dual curved sword pressure. So you just need to run at people or use a jumping attack. And I think a lot of players are already very aware of how strong this is. So if it's built right, like in this build, or just like those old bleed builds, you just have to run at someone and you almost one-shot them, right? Assuming you get all the hits off. But even if you don't get the hits off, it's the pressure and respect you create by running 2 blades that people know, oh, okay, this guy's, you know, he's doing the curved swords thing. They don't recognize the play style is kind of rounded out with that projectile in the heavy R2. right? So you have a lot of moves at your disposal, but again, that core is people have to respect your damage, and even if you're whiffing hits when you're running or jumping attacks, the dual wield attacks, look at that. Oh man, brutal. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4? So yeah, the thing is, you have to respect the damage you're going to put out, or they have to respect the damage you're going to put out. Right here, this is nothing but just to show off. Look at the damage you do with one jump attack, right? And then just a running attack. So if they're not respecting that, or they're not aware of how dangerous that is, that's your bread and butter, okay? But it's complemented, and what makes this build feel like unique. Like you can't do this with any other setup or combo, right? You have to do it with this weapon, and it's this unique play style that I love, right? When they respect that damage, running or jumping attacks, right, you can complement that with what feels like a spell blade or a mage, or like a offensive mage or melee mage with the heavy R2 shooting out a beam. And the beam doesn't cost, if you don't know this, it doesn't cost any FP. I believe it does scale with your intelligence. Like I said, this is why we want the Scorpion and the Physic to boost our magic damage, because even if we're not getting the multi-hit bonuses, we're still doing good damage with our beam and just all of our magic damage in general. And that's it. That's the play style. Now it gets rounded out more when you see a little bit. In a little bit, we're gonna see. Look at that. I just love this beam. We're gonna see more of more well-rounded like play, with not only the running and jumping attacks, the beam like right here, but then I'll show you that the Ash of War, while stylish, while, you know, really cool looking, there is some merit to it. The Nebula, the Ash of War that's on the wing of Astel, that's actually, how do you say it? It's a good like zone control tool, right? If you feel surrounded and you can time it off, you can put out this dispersed nebula. And the flail is good to have on a soft swap because, again, theme-wise, but functionally, the nebula on the flail, the Bastard Star's weapon, is going to be the only reason you even use the flail. Don't use flails. Just for the Ash of War, it's a spell stick, right? But it's going to be different from the Nebula Ash of War. Here you go. Right there, you can set it up by hitting behind you, right? By creating the zone control, either with the wing version, which is different from the Bastard Stars version, which you'll see here in the hallway. Another great place to use it right here. See how the flail version, the Bastards version, will create like a circle and enshrine people, get them stuck. And in both versions, if they get hit with that nebula, they'll get thrown about. They'll get stunned. And because the disperse of the nebula bombs blowing up at different intervals, they can actually get kind of chain locked into that. Oh shit. The nebula can kind of catch a lot of people, and you'll see in this next clip, you can actually set up a kill if you can really time this out pretty good. So here, these two even have the magic barrier up, really stunts my damage. But this guy, unfortunately, or his bubble runs out. He's trying to dodge my stuff. I set up a nebula, now I can run at him while he's stunned. That's what I'm talking about. And that is such a cool combo. There's nothing else like it in Elden Ring that could play something like this. And that's the point. So, like I said, the play style, to sum it up, is you have this great pressure with these attacks like that, the running. You can follow it up with this projectile. You don't have to worry about FP management or getting a lot of mines, right? And then you can, by the way, that projectile is immensely, the damage on the projectile is increased when you're getting these multi-hits in, right? That's what makes it such a deadly combo with the pressure you create, but also you're building up damage multipliers, and then you're able to finish people off who are just out of range and they're like, he can't hit me. But as you'll see, with enough timing, you'll catch somebody right in the perfect distance. And it does great damage with that multi-boost bonus and your physic going off, all the magic bonuses, right? So we create pressure, we have a ranged attack, it's reliable, consistent damage, this guy falls off, right? And then we also have some zone control or some utility in the Ash of War. And don't forget the tools I'm using. If you've seen any of my magic videos, any int build, I'm always running Gravity Stone Fan. Glintstone scraps are amazing, super good tools. And then of course, glintstone darts or whatever they're called, crystal darts. Those are great tools. You need to use them on just about any int build. They're very strong. They're not just situational. They're tools. They're utilities. They're great. So that pretty much does it for the build. And I'd just be repeating myself at this point. I think it's pretty simple. But the thing is, like Elden Ring, there's a lot of builds I wish I could do in Elden Ring. If you play the Dark Souls series, I really love I love spell blades, but I love those catalyst weapons. Demon Scar for pyromancers in 3. I've always loved the blue flame since 2, and if you've seen my video, the golden spear, I love golden ritual spear now. After experimenting with it, I love that thing, and I really hope Elden Ring gets these kinds of weapons. I could talk more about how the Ash of War system, I've said this before, like I think it's underbaked. I wish it was better. I wish we had more weapons like Wing of Astel, where it's not about the Ash of War, it's just something cool and unique about the heavy attack. Because again, I can't do this with any other weapon. This build is specifically set up this way, and I'm just blown away how much it's synergized and how much it came together. And then, like I said, it's greater than the sum of those parts, but it's also got a theme, based off of Astel, the weird skull-looking bug, space bug monster you fight in the cave. If I could, I wish I could have like waves of darkness on this build. That would really help out the theme even more, make it even more complete. But yeah, I'm just impressed that even with my gripes, like it's cool that int or intelligence builds in this game, you can do cool stuff like this. And I don't really watch a lot of tubers. I don't watch a lot of people making Elden Ring content too much, but I guess when it comes to like me fighting people, I don't see builds like this either. I don't see people really, maybe I'm tooting my own horn too much here, but I don't see people really like trying to make builds that feel unique, or they test what certain weapons and combos can come out to make something like unique. Yes, I keep saying the word, but fun. This is a play style that's fun, and it works with itself, and it creates something interesting. And for all the tools you have in Elden Ring, and for all the variety that's there, and you'll see as I show more videos, more builds, and see some of my previous ones, like it's still like I'm still missing that catalyst weapon that can drastically make something, or can make something really truly unique. And this is one of the few examples where I have to admit, like Wing of Astel is so freaking cool just because I can make something like this. I can have my cake and eat it too, with running 2 curved blades, but I don't feel like the average bleed shitter, nerfed or not. I mean, it's just not what I care for. But it makes use of these talismans that people know are powerful, multi-hit. Like I said, Scorpion and Magic Physic. That's a powerful combo. And if we're gonna talk about something while I'm watching these invasions. I think magic damage is, for the most part, the second most strongest damage type in the game, and I'd love to explain that in a video. But what I'm talking about is, especially strictly out of the elemental types, I would say lightning is the strongest. But magic is probably the second strongest, and I think a lot of people would argue me just on the statement without thinking about it. Like, no, you're an idiot. Like, of course magic is definitely the strongest in the game. Like, it's actually not. But I will give intelligence and magic credit that it's probably got the most effective variety, not the most variety. Maybe faith, or if we're just talking about damage types, magic probably has the most variety, right? If we're talking about intelligence versus faith, okay, faith probably the most variety, but intelligence and magic, the most effective, most efficient variety. You have variety. After all the builds I've made a blade mage, like the sword spells focused, right? I've made this character. I've made a dude that strictly runs the big magic sword. What else have I made? Like the super mage, just glass cannon, and then of course the moonveil build, right? It's just intelligence has a lot of fun, effective tools to run, especially when you're running spells like Swift Glintstone Shard or Night Shard for that matter, and you have what's it called, the freaking, how am I forgetting this? Carrion Slicer, well, the best spell in the game. It's ridiculous. We all know it, right? But I'm not running Slicer on this. I'm not running Swift Glintstone Shard, right? So even in a build that doesn't incorporate Moonveil or Swift Glintstone Shard or Star Shower and all that stuff, you can still have fun and feel magical with an intelligence build, with a magic damage typing build, right? So I'm happy about that. I'm happy to share this build because of that. I hope you enjoy it too. Definitely steal it. Go out there and play it. It works incredibly well for invasions. And I gotta wrap this thing up, so I appreciate you. If you watched the whole video, you're a hero. Happy 2023, happy New Year. And yeah, just realize there's so many cool builds in this game, for all my gripes with it. And I hope other people are out there experimenting and don't think it's just all about running halberds with an offhand poker. It's ridiculous. But yeah, thanks for watching. We got a nice little extra bonus clip here I call Karma.